In 18th, 19th, and 20th century Europe, black women aristocrats belonging to nobility lived in various European countries. However, when you research about them, you will find even the most credible sources showing them as white. The paintings and historical records suggest that all European queens and princesses were white, but the truth is quite the opposite. Today we know that various European women aristocrats, princesses, and queens were black, which you should know about. In this video, we will tell you how Europe hid its history and whitewashed it by showing the black women of nobility as white. Watch the video until the very end, because this is going to change how you think about European royal families and aristocrats. Let's get started. Number 1. Queen Charlotte of Great Britain, Sophie. Charlotte was born in the Duchy of Mecklenburg-Strelitz, now part of modern-day Germany. She was the daughter of Duke Charles Louis Frederick of Mecklenburg-Strelitz and Princess Elizabeth Albertine of Saxe-Hildburghausen. Even though her family's lineage connects to various European noble houses, her genetic roots lie in Africa. Queen Charlotte married King George III and served as the Queen Consort of Great Britain and Ireland. As Queen Consort, Sophie Charlotte occupied a distinguished position within the British royal family and European nobility. She held the title Her Majesty the Queen and gracefully fulfilled ceremonial duties and social responsibilities befitting her esteemed status. However, she was not from the white European aristocracy of that time. Rather, her genetic roots were African, and so was her complexion. Even if every historical source shows her as white, she was black in reality, and this is proven by the accounts of people who met and explained her features. Some art historians and researchers have pointed to features in portraits of Queen Charlotte that show her African heritage, such as her facial characteristics and skin tone. Furthermore, certain 18th century artworks portray her with what can be perceived as features not typically associated with European heritage because she really had African roots. One particularly notable piece of evidence comes from a 1773 letter written by Lord Chesterfield, a British nobleman. In this letter, Chesterfield made comments about the Queen's appearance, stating, "Her nose and chin are very large, and if she was not as black as a coal, she would be ugly." It's important to recognize that this statement reflects the perceptions of beauty and racial descriptors of that era, which differed from contemporary understandings. Yet this proves Queen Charlotte was not white. Another historical account comes from Ignatius Sancho, a former slave who became a writer and correspondent in 18th century England. In a letter to the Duke of Montagu, Sancho mentioned Queen Charlotte as having a true mulatto face. Some have interpreted this reference as potential confirmation of Queen Charlotte's African ancestry. Now, it's quite clear that Queen Charlotte's grandmother, Sophie, had African heritage through her maternal line. Sophie's mother, Margaretha von der Sale, was of African origin, suggesting that this lineage contributed to Sophie Charlotte's physical appearance. Queen Sophie Charlotte was celebrated for her love of arts and sciences. She ardently supported the works of German composer Johann Christian Bach and maintained a personal orchestra at her court. Number 2. Dido Elizabeth Bell. Dido Elizabeth Bell was born in 1761 in the West Indies. She was the daughter of Sir John Lindsay, a British naval officer, and an African woman, Maria Bell, who had been enslaved on a British ship. After she was born, Dido was brought to England, most likely by her father, and joined the European aristocracy while being a black woman. She was placed under the care of her great-uncle William Murray, the first Earl of Mansfield, and his wife Lady Elizabeth Murray. Dido held an exceptional place in British society during that time. She grew up as a companion to her cousin Lady Elizabeth Murray, and were both raised in the Mansfield household. This situation was uncommon because Dido had African ancestry, and racial bias was prevalent in 18th century England. Dido's great-uncle, Lord Mansfield, was a significant figure within the British legal system. He eventually rose to become the Lord Chief Justice of England. It should be noted that her rulings in some pivotal legal cases had significant consequences for the movement to abolish slavery in England. One such case was the well-known Somerset v. Stewart case in 1772. In this instance, Lord Mansfield's decision declared that slavery couldn't be upheld by English common law. While this ruling didn't directly put an end to slavery in England, it marked a notable stride toward its eventual demise. Dido's presence within the Mansfield household and the influence of her great-uncle's legal decisions are often regarded as a symbolic turning point in the struggle against slavery and racial prejudice in Britain. Her life has served as inspiration for novels, films, and documentaries. The 2013 film Belle, directed by Ama Asante, delves into her story, and her position within British society. Before we continue further, tell us, are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Number 3. Sarah Forbes Bonetta. In 1843, Sarah Forbes Bonetta was born in what is now Nigeria, bearing the name Omoba Aina. Tragically, her parents were captured in a slave hunting raid when she was just a child. During one of these brutal assaults, she was seized by the king of Dahomey, in modern-day Benin. The year 1850 marked a turning point for Sarah Forbes Bonetta when she was presented as a gift to Captain Frederick E. Forbes, a British naval officer during his diplomatic mission to Dahomey. Captain Forbes was profoundly moved by the heart-wrenching circumstances of Sarah's life and resolved to bring her to England. Upon her arrival in England, Sarah was bestowed as a gift to Queen Victoria and Prince Albert. The royal couple, known for their staunch abolitionist stance, were deeply touched by her tale and took on the roles of her godparents. Queen Victoria conferred upon her the name Sarah Forbes Bonetta, adding Forbes in honor of the naval officer who had rescued her, and Bonetta from the name of his ship, the HMS Bonetta. Sarah Forbes Bonetta had the rare privilege of receiving an education in England, an extraordinary opportunity for an African girl of her time. She was added to the European aristocracy, having close ties with the British royal family. She was introduced to high society, partook in social events, and even acquired musical skills. It's because Queen Victoria showed a keen interest in her upbringing. In 1862, Sarah married James Pinson Labulo Davies, a prosperous Yoruba businessman who also hailed from African royalty. Sarah Forbes Bonetta Davies made numerous journeys to Africa throughout her life. Her husband's involvement in trade between Britain and West Africa resulted in their residencies in various locales, including Lagos, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone at different junctures. Number 4. Queen Ranavalona III. Queen Ranavalona III's status in the European aristocracy is quite unique. Born in 1861 as Razafindra Haiti, Ranavalona III belonged to the Merina ethnic group, which held sway over the central highlands of Madagascar. Her mother, Princess Rahelisoa, placed her under the care of Queen Ranavalona II and King Rasoherina since they had no other heirs. This decision paved the path for her eventual accession to the throne. In 1883, after the passing of Queen Ranavalona II, Ranavalona III ascended to the throne at the age of 22. Her reign unfolded during a challenging period when European powers, particularly France, were in contention for control over Madagascar. Throughout her reign, Ranavalona III enjoyed international recognition as the legitimate ruler of Madagascar. She held the title of Queen of Madagascar, and her sovereignty was diplomatically acknowledged despite the creeping influence of colonial powers, notably France, on Madagascar's self-governance. Ranavalona III's reign was marred by substantial difficulties. European colonial powers, with France at the forefront, sought to extend their dominion over Madagascar, eventually leading to the island's colonization. Despite her persistent efforts to negotiate and preserve Madagascar's independence, political tensions with France escalated. In 1895, through the Treaty of Betsileo, Ranavalona III was compelled to abdicate her throne, resulting in Madagascar becoming a French colony. Both she and her husband, Prime Minister Rainelia Rivoni, were exiled to the French-controlled island of Reunion, unwillingly becoming members of the European aristocracy. Since her country was invaded and became a French colony, she had to move to France and live like a political exile. But this made her French nobility. Number 5. Princess Theresa of Saxe-Hildburghausen. Princess Theresa was born in Meiningen, Germany, as the daughter of Frederick, Duke of Saxe-Altenburg, and Duchess Charlotte Georgine of Mecklenburg-Strelitz. Princess Theresa of Saxe-Hildburghausen's African heritage traces back through her maternal lineage. Her grandmother, Princess Charlotte of Hesse-Darmstadt, was the daughter of Prince George William of Hesse-Darmstadt and Maria Louise Albertine of Leiningen-Falkenberg-Dagsburg. Maria Louise Albertine possessed a mixed-race background, with African ancestry coursing through her maternal line. This African lineage gave Princess Theresa a distinctive black complexion and traits. However, if you see her paintings, she was always shown as white, hiding the black traits she held. In the year 1810, Princess Theresa exchanged vows with Ludwig Friedrich Alexander, the Prince of Thurn and Taxis. The Thurn and Taxis family, renowned for their postal services, held a prominent place in the German nobility. Hence, Princess Theresa became a member of the German elite class and enjoyed a privileged life, Assuming the title of Princess of Thurn and Taxis as the wife of a prince, Princess Teresa occupied a position of profound respect and influence within European nobility. Her status as a gentlewoman wasn't solely a consequence of her marriage. It was also rooted in her familial ties to other European royal families. Princess Teresa and her husband moved within the elite social and cultural circles of European nobility, and Princess Teresa became a member of the German aristocracy for the rest of her life. Did you know that Europe hid its black women of nobility? Isn't it true that the historic paintings we see today were actually painted to show black women of nobility as white? Let us know your thoughts on this in the comments section right below. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.